What is good, everyone? What is good? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're jumping back into the Go Battle League arena, this time once again returning to the Great League Remix Cup to try our hand once again with CARBINK. Now, today we're going to be running CARBINK on the lead, and I do want to say I have run a bunch of teams with CARBINK, and this has easily been my most successful team. Now, at this point in the Remix Cup, you'll have noticed that a lot of teams are built to either directly counter CARBINK or indirectly counter CARBINK, and it is having a somewhat tough introduction to Go Battle League. However, with today's team today, we're looking to cover all of CARBINK's potential weaknesses and toughest matchups. So what does CARBINK not want to see? Grass. So we're covering grass with our Pidgeot. What else doesn't it want to see? Mud Boys, right? So we're covering the Mud Boys with our Cresselia. We have Grass Knot. And remember, even in CARBINK's toughest matchups, when you are able to maneuver your Pokemon and manage your energy as well as your shields appropriately, it does have some play. Remember, CARBINK is extremely bulky, which does give it at least neutral play into a lot of Pokemon in this limited meta. So today, our objective is going to be to allow our jewel Pokemon to shine bright like the diamond that it is. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop straight into some battles. Getting into the first one, we have CARBINK on the lead against Quagsire. This is a horrible lead, potentially the worst lead that you can see. We're going to immediately pivot into our safe swap for today's video, and it will be the Cresselia. Opponent going to immediately counter swap into their Pidgeot, and we are able to land a Moonblast before we get debuffed or potentially debuffed by the opponent's Feather Dance, and it will be the Feather Dance. Pidgeots are almost always going to throw that Feather Dance first, especially on the safe swap. On the lead, it's a little bit of a different story, as the Brave Bird and Dip strategy has been becoming a little bit more popularized and commonplace in Go Battle League. But in this video today, we have Pidgeot on the safe swap. We are able to CMP tie on the Brave Bird, and we will be able to KO the opponent's Pidgeot simultaneously with some corresponding Psycho Cuts. We're going to be bringing in our Pidgeot here. We're okay with revealing our full team at this point, and the opponent had brought in their Whiscash, or their Quagsire rather, wrong Mudboy, but they immediately pivoted into their Lickitung. This is fantastic for us because we are able to freely win the alignment that we want here. We have Lickitung now aligned against our CARBINK. Yes, Lickitung will be dealing super effective Power Whip damage into our CARBINK, but this is a much better matchup for us than CARBINK into the opponent's Quagsire, as CARBINK going to be able to easily survive one Power Whip, and we can actually survive a second Power Whip here. No need for us to shield. We're looking to get to this next Rock Slide. Will we be able to get to the Rock Slide? We will be able to, and even better for us, the opponent going to get a limited farm down with their Quagsire. We're going to hard pivot out as the opponent did as well from our CARBINK into our Pidgeot. We've now debuffed the opponent's attack 2 stages. We have 2 shields to our name, and we know they're going to be baiting, but they don't bait. They full send the Stone Edge. That's massive for us, as we can now once again debuff the opponent even further. We're going to grab their first shield, and the opponent is now debuffed 4 stages in their attack. Will they be full sending the Stone Edge? They do full send it, and we see a 4 times debuffed Stone Edge still does massive damage onto our Pidgeot. We're now in trouble here, as we have 1 shield, opponent has 1 shield, and they no shield that. So will they be able to bait us here? No, they're full sending the Stone Edge once again. They go for the catch onto the Lickitung, unable to catch. They're going for the farm down, not able to get it. They throw the Mud Bomb, trying to KO our Pidgeot. We catch it onto our CARBINK, and we can KO the opponent with a final wing attack, as that catch saved us the game. CARBINK coming in clutch for us. Pidgeot calls game. Well played by the opponent. Thank you for the match. Hopping into the next battle, we have another pretty tough lead here. We have Sandslash on the lead against our CARBINK. We're going to try for the catch on the Drorum, but the opponent knows better than that. They're going to continue farming, and they do throw their energy into our Pidgeot. Opponent able to get to back-to-back ice punches before we can get to a single charge move. This is going to force us to shield, as we do want to put some shield pressure on the opponent. We're going to bait them here with the Feather Dance. Will this be successful? No. Opponent, no shielding. And I'm hearing the voice of my friends in my head, never bait. But we're going to once again be baiting here, trying to debuff the opponent even further. Sand Slash now debuffed 4 times in its attack stat. Will this Ice Punch still be enough? Super effective Ice Punch, not able to KO us, but they are able to get the Shadow Claw down. No, they are not. They are doing perfect counting there, throwing another Ice Punch just before Pidgeot is able to get to the next Feather Dance, and at this point, we are in trouble. Opponent is up a shield, has a massive amount of energy on their Shadow, or on their Alolan Sand Slash non-Shadow, and they bring in their Cofagrigus. Obviously, we have Cresselia in the back, and Cresselia does not want to be aligned against the opponent's Ghost Pokemon, and it is a shiny Cofagrigus, so it's also getting the shiny boost as they fire off the Shadow Ball into our CARBINK. CARBINK able to easily tank that charge move, and we're going to go for the full rock throw down. Not able to get it. Will we be expending our final shield here? We have no choice but to expend our shield. Go for the full rock throw down. We're able to get the rock throw down, but the opponent able to throw their energy, KO our CARBINK as they did snipe us. I was trying to catch onto the Cresselia, unable to do so, and in the back they have an Alolan Marowak. They're up a shield, and that's just a GG from their opponent. Running a spicy team, Shadow Claw user on the lead, double Ghost in the back. GG's to them, well played. Hopping into the next battle, we have a fantastic lead. Finally, Shadow Golbat on the lead against our CARBINK. Opponent going to swap into a Spinda, and at this point I'm staying in because I don't know what I should be doing. Takes me a while to realize I should be going into my safe swap, so I finally pivot out, but now our switch clocks are significantly misaligned. Opponent going to be debuffing our attack with an Icy Wind, and I throw on CMP tie. I was hoping that Cresselia would be able to win CMP tie here, but we're not able to, as our attack is now debuffed 4 stages. We did CMP tie with the Grass Knot. We're going for the undercharge to get the full farm down onto the opponent, and it's looking good for us, as the opponent will be throwing its next charge move, and it'll just be another Icy Wind. We are continuing to get debuffed. Our Cresselia is significantly low now after this next Icy Wind. We're in the critical health range. Opponent hard swaps into their double in the back, and we match their swap with the Pidgeot. Will we be respecting the potential payback? No, we don't. We call the bait. I was hoping it was just a body slam, given that we have 2 shields. Opponent does not care. They are full sending the payback. Will they be respecting the potential Brave Bird? They do. They shield up the Brave Bird. We're going for the next charge move. This will just be a Feather Dance. Will the opponent expend their final shield here? They do not. The opponent reading me like an absolute bedtime story here. What a nightmare for us. Remember, our Cresselia still has a massive amount of energy. We go for the snipe onto the double, and we are able to successfully snipe. They're going for the energy preservation. They expend their final shield to preserve that energy, but we're able to outpace them to the next charge move. Will the Grass Knot be enough to KO? No, as the opponent did pivot into their Shadow Golbat. I didn't even notice that. So great catch by them. That was fantastic. They pivoted out into their Golbat, able to debuff CARBINK with the Poison Fang. Will we be respecting this next Poison Fang? Yes, I don't want to BM. No need for a 2 shield flex here, as CARBINK now has a massive amount of energy. We have a Rock Slide stored for whatever wants to come back in. Remember, double does have a charge move here. It has built up a decent amount of energy, but CARBINK going to be able to win CMP here. We KO the opponent's double, KO the Spinda, as CARBINK sweeps all 3 of the opponent's Pokemon, calls game. Well played by the opponent, and that was actually my friend, so GG's to Katsu. Thank you for the match. Hopping into the next battle, we have another tough lead. CARBINK on the lead against Toxapex. This is a tough lead for us because Toxapex is able to deal super effective damage with its charge move of Brine, and is also dealing neutral damage with Sludge Wave as well as Poison Jab. We're going to bring in our Cresselia. Opponent throws off the Sludge Wave before pivoting into their Mandibuzz. Now, Mandibuzz will not be appreciating these Moonblasts, but as you see, Mandibuzz is an absolute tank and will be able to outpace us to the next Moonblast. Question is foul play enough to KO? No, it is not. We are able to survive on a handful of HP, get to this next Moonblast, and I'm undercharging to allow CARBINK more charge there. I did realize that that next Moonblast may not have been entirely necessary, but looking at how much each rock throw is doing, I think we did undercharge it the perfect amount, as these foul plays, as well as the air slashes and aerial aces from the opponent, are going to not cause us to sweat at all onto our CARBINK. We now have a massive amount of energy to greet the opponent's Toxapex with. Remember, Toxapex does not have that much energy. They threw a Sludge Wave at our Cresselia, so they're not going to be appreciating these back-to-back rock slides. CARBINK aligned against a pretty decent counter to it, able to put in significant work against the opponent's Toxapex. We're going to go for the shield farm down. Are we going to be able to farm down? No, we're not, but we get the catch onto our Pidgeot. It will just be the Brine. Brine being a terrible charge move is not going to cause us much sweat at all. And this should hopefully be a pretty straightforward endgame. Pidgeot is receiving neutral damage from the opponent's charge moves. We no shield the power up punch, and we are now going to be debuffing the opponent's attack stat 2 stages. They do choose to shield the first one. Remember, they still have 2 shields, and now it's getting a bit dicey here. Opponent, their attack stat is now back to neutral, and I'm looking at how much damage each of these counters are doing. Granted, they will be debuffed 2 stages now, but it's not doing enough, so we're going to go for the snipe. We're able to get to the Moonblast on CARBINK because we did not want Pidgeot to get farmed down. Moonblast KOs the opponent's Scrafty. Rock Throw able to KO the opponent's Toxapex as CARBINK once again sweeps endgame and calls game. Well played by the opponent. Thank you for the match. As we hop into the next battle, we have another tough lead, Scrafty on the lead against our CARBINK. We're going to immediately pivot out into our hardest counter, that being the Pidgeot, and the opponent is staying in. They've built up a massive amount of energy, and they're going to be full sending the foul play into our Pidgeot before pivoting into their Golbat. We're full sending the Brave Bird here. Last time it didn't work out for us. This time, bang, able to one-shot the opponent's Golbat. They pivot back into their Scrafty. Will Scrafty be respecting the potential back-to-back Brave Bird? No, they will not, and it was just another bait, so at least we were able to land the single Brave Bird. One-shot the opponent's Golbat. We bring in the Cresselia here, as we will be able to get to 1 Grass Knot, which should be enough to KO the opponent's Scrafty. Scrafty is debuffed 2 stages in its attack, so you see that foul play doesn't do that much damage. We're not worried about it. Cresselia is an extremely bulky Pokemon, and 1 Grass Knot is indeed enough to KO the opponent's Scrafty. They pivot into their final Pokemon. It's going to be the Mew. So Mew is a fantastic Pokemon. Charge move roulette, but at this point, Mew just does not have the bulk to compete with our Cresselia as well as with our CARBINK. We're going to no-shield this just to scout, see what the opponent's running. Are they running any Spice? They're running Surf, so respect to them. CARBINK doesn't have to sweat this next Surf, but again, I don't want to 2-shield BM the opponent, so I'm going to respect them. Shield up the charge move, go for the Rock Throw down. Opponent top lefts before the battle ends as CARBINK calls game once again. Well played by the opponent. Thank you for the match, and thank you to all of my opponents as we were able to go 4-1 in this set today with some fantastic gameplay that I feel did allow CARBINK to fully flex its utility muscles today. So we saw some bulk from CARBINK. We saw how hard its charge moves can hit with the Moonblast as well as the Rock Throw. You don't really think about tanks being able to hit that hard if you think about Bastiodon. Do you really sweat the damage that it's outputting? Not really. It's more of a defensive wall. CARBINK, we did see dealing some respectable damage with Rock Throw, as well as its charge moves of Rock Slide, as well as Moonblast. And you know the bulk that CARBINK comes with, but also that bulk allows you to survive matchups, pivot out from CARBINK, and use that CARBINK as a sack swap later, or preserve that energy and better utilize that energy later on, as we were able to demonstrate today. So overall, I do feel that CARBINK is a very strong Pokemon. If you don't have one, no sweat. It's not like the absolute meta breaker like we were anticipating it to be. Is it strong? Of course it's strong. Is it fun to run? Yeah, definitely. I have one. I want to use it. I'm having a good time using it. But as we demonstrated in the video today, it doesn't just lead to instant wins, right? You still have to rely on your gameplay mechanics to clutch out some of those wins. but having CARBINK in your corner definitely gives you a little bit of leeway to fall back on. But that's going to be all from me. Thank you so much for stopping by. Remember to enjoy the small things. Peace.